you'll have seen this one, so I think I will skip this. You'll have seen this before. The best job for every personality type, so I don't need to go through this one. This is not my focus today. But this is where I want to quickly dwell on. Communication is key in virtually every area of life. And personality types are very, very influential in the way we communicate. And thank you, Lara, for that question. And that brings me to the issue of how our communication styles are influenced by our personality types. How our communication styles differ a lot. And it seems as if we are trying to get the attention of our husband to do this or respond to this, but it's not taking it serious like we are saying or communicating, because that's not his communication style. It's not receiving the way you are communicating it or giving it. And there's a principle in communication, psychology of communication. Communication only becomes communication when the intent and content of a message that is being communicated by the giver has become the same by the intent and content of the message received by the receiver. The intent, the motive behind the communication, and the content of the communication, when both for giver and receiver, they are at par. So until the receiver shares the same intent with you, the intent for communicating, and the contents with you, the communication is not yet communication. So your goal should not be to just communicate. Your goal should be to ensure that the intent, the motive you have in communicating with that subordinate or that member or that child is received by him, is understood by him or her. Then the content is related to or accepted or embraced by the receiver. When we're able to do that, then we are communicating. And ladies and gentlemen, gaps in communication has cost a lot of organizations a lot of money. A lot of money. Gaps in communication in relationship between a husband and wife has caused a lot of marriages. Between parent and child has caused a lot of lives. And communication is deeper than just speaking. Communication is also listening, but communication is also understanding. And that brings to the forefront the importance of knowing how your personality type influences the way you are communicating. Because if the person is not understanding your intent and content, then you are just babbling. It's just a waste of energy. I don't know if this is visible to you guys enough, but it may seem as if it's not bold enough. Let me see. Okay. Hopefully it can. Let me see if I can enlarge it further. Okay, don't worry. You are going to receive the slide like I promised last session. So after this session, I will be sending the slide to you, Lara. Okay.
Okay, Doc.
All right. So let's look at how personality types are influenced by personality types influence communication, especially in relationships. And this can be relationship, romantic. So I'll be balancing the two. So work and personal. So for personal, I will focus majorly on romantic or husband, wife, and parent-child. Then for work, majorly with team members or subordinates or colleagues, maybe sometimes customers. And I believe we'll be able to do justice to that. Okay, so let me quickly explain what I'm about to do. So on the screen, you can see the 4 categories of or drivers of your personality, like I explained earlier. Oh, please give me 1 minute. My laptop charger is not here, and I didn't realize the battery is low. Just give me 30 seconds. Let me get the charger, please.
Okay. All right, while we're waiting for Dr. Saz, this is just to formally welcome everyone once again. A couple of people joined after I had done the initial introduction. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. This is HR Gems, which means HR Great Excellent Mind Network. We're a network of professionals who are transforming ourselves so we can be change agents. The whole essence of this interactive session is to share knowledge, transformative knowledge with the entire world so that we can all benefit from what is happening in the HR Gems community. And now we are looking forward to ensuring that every one of us gets live transforming information from today's session. Thank you. Please feel free to post your questions at any point in time into the chat box. Toba Best would help to moderate afterwards. Thank you. Additionally, as well, I would like to have your feedback. We have the feedback link posted in the chat box as well. Please feel free to click on it.
Thank you.
Part of what you would also get is if
all right, thank you for that. My apology, please.
Okay, go on, sir.
All right, so don't worry if you can't read, if it's not legible enough. You have the slide. So I was explaining that there are 4 drivers or components of personality that constitutes that characteristic pattern of how you think, feel, and behave in specific situation that makes you unique, which we call personality. And we mentioned the environmental interaction, which is about extrovert or introvert, and the mental energy, which is about being a sensor or intuitive. We have the decision making, which is about being a thinker or a feeler, more of a thinker or a feeler. Then we have the last one, which is about your tactical approach, which is essentially being more of a judger or more of a perceiver. Now, the letters you have represent each of the letters represents each of these 4 categories. So if you are ENTP, or you are INTJ, or you are whatever, okay? So you represent each of these categories. Sorry. Just a minute, please. Okay. All right. So if yours is E in the 4 letters that represent your personality type, that means extrovert. Listen to how that personality type influences your communication. So you develop your thoughts through interaction with others. A lot of times your thoughts that you formed in your head are through interaction with others and thinking out loud. And once you are involved and engaged with people, with others, oftentimes you may want to talk a lot, and you may want to talk quite rapidly, and you may want to continually build on what others are saying out of excitement. And in fact, you may tend to interrupt them a lot. So you will find all this manifesting the way you communicate. And if you are not self-aware, you just discover that maybe your team members or your children are saying that mommy doesn't listen. We are not self-aware, so that you consciously develop emotional regulation that holds you back from interrupting people when they're talking, so that you listen. An introvert, it's easier for an introvert to practice listening. It doesn't mean they are better at active listening, but it's easier for them to practice it when they start learning active listening than an extrovert. However, an extrovert that is highly self-aware and realizes the importance of active listening and what this interrupting, not regulating his emotion or emotion is doing to his communication and does his leadership or parenting. If he starts developing his active listening skills or working on this, it can take the active listening skill to any level, regardless of being an extrovert. But for introverts, they prefer written communication. It gives them space to think through the ideas. So whether personally they like to write or on their phone or in a notebook, and if the person is a leader or is your boss, they actually process their thought better when it's written, because it gives them space to think through the ideas. With verbal communications, they need time to reflect. So if you're communicating with somebody that has a personality type with high, the introvert, and you are speaking too fast, you don't lose them easily. So because you're an extrovert, you want to sell to an introvert. Because you're an extrovert, you want to engage your spouse or engage your child that is an introvert. You got to master how to slow down your talking. And it's not easy, quite all right, because of who you are. But when you learn to build your empathy, that's why empathy is key to communication. When you learn to build your empathy, and there are exercises you can practice daily, regularly to build your empathy. Empathy is, like I explained earlier, is that discipline of not being stuck with your own perspective and feeling in a situation. Yes, you have your perspective on that situation. Yes, you have your feeling when your daughter, who is maybe perhaps 10 years old, says, "Mommy, I have a crush in school." Or let's even go deeper. "Mommy, I think I'm in love." I know the African mom in you or the African father in you may want to exclaim. And that's one of the things we train or teach about in coaching. If you cannot regulate your emotion, that's why our first 2 days is all about emotional intelligence. If you cannot regulate your emotion, you cannot be a coach. You have no business being a coach. You cannot develop that skill of emotional intelligence in regulating your emotion. Somebody says, yes, because you're a religious person, perhaps you're a coach and you're a pastor, and says, and he's a married man or a married woman, and says, because he made me angry, I decided to go and sleep with his friend or her friend. You did what? You have shut down, you have activated or alerted the amygdala of that person, the area in the emotional brain that pumps out fear. You have alerted or activated that area. And it's going to be difficult because they become defensive or they may even shut down. Even though internally you are exclaiming, you are shouting, but externally you must not manifest it. Because you will appear and come across to them as a judge. You are judging. Then you cannot be a judge and a coach at the same time. So introverts, with verbal communication, they need time to reflect and will be quiet unless you give them clear opening to speak. So when you are communicating as a leader to an introvert in your team, you got to know how to elicit feedback from him or her. You got to master how to elicit feedback from him. Don't just believe that you are communicating and he's understanding because he's quiet, he's listening. No, you got to learn to elicit feedback from him or her. Then they will tire out if your discussion is getting extended. So you are discussing or communicating with an introvert, you must make it simple and straightforward. Simple and straightforward. So let's move to the second component or category. We're going to see practicality of this, how to apply it now, after I've explained it. The second category, which is about mental energy sensors. So if you have S in your personality type in the second letter, listen to this. Intuitive is represented by N. So if you have S in your personality, so how your personality type influences your communication, the second category is this. You guys focus on what is real and actual in your past or your present. You are more focused on real and actual things, realities. So you ask numerous specific questions because you want the details. And you give and receive a lot of real life examples. So people like you, when you're talking, you give a lot of real life examples. And for you to connect with whatever anybody is saying, they must give you practicalities or realities, real life examples. So if you want to sell to someone that is an, let's say, ISTJ or ESTJ, because of the S in there, you must learn to put in real life examples. Do less of giving theoretical description and just share stories, share real life example. How this person did this, how this person did that, based on this that they bought. If it's your children, you got to learn. If that your child has S, is a dominantly sensor, you must learn to share your experience. You must learn, you cannot be, and you cannot afford to be lying because they will get the detail. Sensors are always looking for details. They will even ask you specific questions. Numerous, not even one. So share your experience, let them relate to the real life. That's the way you will connect with them to influence them. That's the way you can communicate with them. And if you are working on learning also and learning fast, let's say academically, with some courses you're doing, one of the ways you will learn fast is by being able to translate whatever you're studying into real life examples. It stays faster, your memory, it becomes stronger as a sensor. But if you are more of an intrinsic, that is the N, the capital N in your personality type, you are more likely to move every communication to the bigger context. And you are trying to see the big picture. So while sensors are looking for the details, you are looking for the big outcome. What's the cocoa of all these things that we're talking about? Where is it ending? All right. And you are more likely to start offering, once you realize the outcome, the big goal, the big picture, you are more likely to start offering out of the box creative ideas that may lack practicality. So if you are talking to a sensor as a team member to team member, you want to jump to the big goal, the big outcome, the big picture already. And once they can give you the big picture, you are already giving creative ideas, quite all right, they are out of the box. But sometimes you don't have how to practically solve it or execute it. And sometimes if the two of you cannot agree to look detail into the practicality, it ends up becoming one of those white elephants project, tall dreams with no execution. So for intuitive, the people with capital N in their personality type, realize that based on who you have been programmed to be growing up, your environment, education, experience, and exposure, that program your characteristic pattern of how you think, feel, and behave in specific situations that make you unique. You are more prone to just focus on the big picture and coming up with creative ideas that may be out of the box, but lack practicality. So while you're celebrating your creativity and respecting or valuing yourself that you are an out of the box thinker, learn to collaborate, learn not to relegate the sensors that are looking out for the details, because they are more practical oriented. So see them as the complement to your gaps. But the problem with a lot of intuitives is that because of these creative ideas are flowing in their brain, because of their out of the box thinking, they think they are superior and they get carried away by this, not realizing that idea is useless when there's no execution, when there's no practicality, when there are no steps towards achieving it. All right, quickly, the third category, because of time now, I will move faster. The third category, which is the decision-making style of each personality and how it influences the way we communicate. So those that are more of thinkers, those that have capital T in their personality type, they desire clarity and logical structure a lot in their communication. What do we mean? So when too much time is given to them, if you give them too much time, if you give them adequate time to communicate, they will build their case logically. They may build it from the time of Garden of Eden when God created Adam. And now Adam woke up to discover there's Eve beside him. They will build it and it will make logical sense. But if you know you are pressed for time, that's not the quickly specify to such a person if he's a thinker. But if you are also a thinker and you are communicating, you have to be conscious of the kind of people or your audience. If the time is at the time that people are already pressed for time or people are tired, energy is low, your personality wiring can make you get carried away in your head by building case logically and describing the logical structure or in order because you want people to gain clarity, because that's how you gain clarity. Some people are not wired to gain clarity by logical structure. Now your personality type, everybody is not the same with you. So what do? Ask yourself, what are the relevant issues in what I'm building to the main goal of this communication? And just stick to it. Then if they ask question, you can now go detail in question. Because the person that asks question most likely means it relates to your personality type and wants clarity or detailed logical structure. But when I'm talking to general audience, in order to carry everybody along, in order to carry all your team members along, just go be conscious of your personality gaps or your personality shortcomings and go straight, remove the relevant issue and go straight to the relevant issue. Build your logical structure based on the relevant issue. And when people are getting emotional, another thing you must note and be sensitive to and be conscious of, if you are a T, in your personality type. When others are getting emotional, the personality type of thinkers, they tend to tune out and stop participating because they're thinkers. They are not feelers. They tune out and stop participating. That's the time you notice that they are not talking again, or they just talk in monosyllables. And you can gradually start subtly sending signals to people that you don't care, or you can start creating gap in the teamwork or even your relations with your kids or with your spouse. So what do you do in such a situation? That's where you need to build your empathy. Even though based on perspective, like I said, that is on me. Even though based on how you are wiring your programming and your perspective, they are getting too emotional. They want to lay off stuff for them, and people are getting too emotional. Even though based on your perspective, your programming, you cannot connect with them. But the world is not just about you alone. And as a leader, you must realize that the world does not begin and end with you. As a matter of fact, your local government must not be your world. The world should be your local government. Some people are wired to be emotional. And there's a purpose for that in the world. If everybody is logical like you, if everybody is a thinker like you, even the world will be boring for you. So you feel like tuning out immediately. That would be your natural predisposition. But you can practice what we call emotional pause if you have done emotional intelligence training. Practice emotional pause and practice your emotional selection, how to choose your emotion, even though you don't like. That's why I always say to people, you may not like something, but you can connect with it. It's all about what we call emotional agility. Being able to choose your emotion even in the midst of what you don't like. Okay, what about the feelers? Still in the third category, how they make decisions that influence their communication. So the people that have capital F in their personality type, they want things they discuss to be connected to their values. They are feelers because their values will drive their thoughts pattern and their emotions. So whatever they are discussing, if it's not connected to their values, they struggle. And when the communication is cold, when it's cold and it's detached from their emotions or it's detached from their values, they tune out. They also react poorly when others don't consider the full impact of their communication or their decisions is having on them or others. It may not be on them. It may be on others, on the other workers. But as long as they sense that your communication is detached or is not having a consideration for how it will impact others, their feelings, their state of mind, they start detaching unconsciously. Now, that may seem as if they are immune, but the truth is that they are actually indirectly, by detaching, helping such a communicator to go ahead and have such an impact on others that is going to affect their feelings or not having a consideration for their feelings. So when you are naturally predisposed to tuning out, that's when to practice emotional pausing and ask yourself a question. This is about others, and it's just the way it's programmed to communicate. You may not even realize it. So let me pause. I don't want to detach now. Let me engage in with a question, or let me create a scenario and see if you will be seeing light in what I'm thinking about. Lastly, for these people, any concern, when they have concerns based on their values or how something will have impact on the emotions of people and is dismissed as irrational, or they just minimize it and say that you are getting emotional, that destabilizes them and makes them chin up or detach. Now, that brings the role of emotional regulation also. People may not agree with your approach to things, but as long as your opinion matters, as long as your opinion may be representing a couple of hundreds or tens of people that you will protect, learn to regulate your emotion. Learn to practice emotional pausing. so that you can choose your emotion and you can still be involved in that discussion, in that communication. And this may just be on a romantic level, on a personal level with your children. You say something that is really touching or painful or really deeply touching you, and your son just dismisses it. Mommy, you are just being emotional. Just calm yourself down. That's not the time to react emotionally, or else you will not allow that child to be free with you in communicating. The same thing with spouses. Time will not permit me to go deep into this. So let's move to the last category, which is all about tactical approach, how you execute the information, the decisions you made, how you execute in your environment that you find yourself, workplace, home, or wherever. So we are a mix of judges and perceiver, but you are more of one. Those that have J in their personality type, they are more of judges. Okay, so in the way this personality type influences your communication, you want all communication to be straight to the point. People like you, judge as J, you want all communication to be straight to the point, goal-oriented and structured. You make quick decisions without necessarily considering or waiting for all the information. You are quite spontaneous. You prefer short deliberations and you want rapid resolutions. But the problem is that not everybody is like you. If you're a team lead, if care is not taken, you will shut down and kill the confidence of some of your team members that are perceivers. You will see what perceivers are all about in their own communication style. Because you are wired, you are programmed to want straight to the point answers. That is goal-oriented and structured. You want short deliberation, you want rapid resolution. Be aware that this is you. Yes, this is what you like. But as long as you are dealing with people, you've got to be empathic. And the problem is this: you may be doing it and going scot-free in the workplace. But because you have been repeatedly doing this, you will start doing it with your spouse. You will start doing the same thing with your children. And your workers, your mates, your colleagues, your team members may tolerate you, but your spouse may not tolerate you, and conflict will arise. Your children will start disconnecting from you. It's all about emotional intelligence. Your emotional intelligence can cover for your shortcomings. You may not be able to change your personality. Some can change their personality, but you may not be able to change it. But you can build your emotional intelligence, but you can, because it's a skill that you can keep learning and practicing and building, such that your shortcomings are no longer obvious. And all of us get flaws. All of us get shortcomings. Emotional intelligence will help you to cover for your shortcomings. For the perceivers, they like to ride on the conversational wave. So what do I mean by that? They may go off on some tangent of discussion. They may go off from the lane, or they don't go straight to the point. They provide extra information to assist others. They improvise a lot. They leave topics open. They are not the type that head bent or short deliberations or rapid resolution or straight to the point structure, one way of getting an answer. They are open to other ways of getting an answer. In fact, they can provide extra information to assist others in thinking other options. They are happy to discuss an issue until every piece of information has been considered. Now, if you have somebody like this in your team, and you are a judge as a leader, you have to be conscious of the fact that it's a tool, it's an asset. Even though you don't like, you are not wired to like that stuff. And if you don't want to make him become unresourceful because you are pushing to unresourceful state of mind, you want him to become a weak link in your team, you got to affirm their own role, their own contribution. And on this note, all what I've described so far, we appreciate it better now when it comes to romantic. So let me just quickly touch on romantic matches. Some believe in matchmaking, some don't believe in matchmaking, but let me quickly say this on this background. I will say two things here. One of the things I've observed with a lot of relationship issues, I work with a lot of couples. I think I've even lost count as I go through my files. And especially if it's behavioral dysfunctions, that once they call and I was able to track it to a behavioral dysfunction, I'm open to taking up such a case. But if it's not traceable to behavioral dysfunction, I refer them to relationship coach. I'm not a relationship coach. All right. And one of the things I've observed is this clash in personalities. So the clash in personalities is causing a clash in their communication styles, causing a clash in their love language style, causing a clash in their decision-making styles, in their spending styles, in several things, including sexual intimacy. While someone is open to options, flexible, the other one is not open, and a lot of conflicts. And that brings me to the first thing I want to say when it comes to romantic relationship. I always say this, a lot of studies have gone into this globally. Romantic relationship is less about compatibility and more about understanding. I'll repeat this. Romantic relationship is more about understanding and less about compatibility. So the background and creating, even though you will see some personality type are compatible with some personality type, it doesn't mean conflict will not ensue. If they lack the ability to understand one another, to seek to understand one another before they seek to be understood. If they are too locked up in their own head of their own perspective and feelings, so that they are always seeking the other person to understand them first, instead of first seeking to understand the person. Because when you first seek to understand the perspective and the feelings of that person, it will guide your decision, your communication, your attitude and approach to that person. And that energy we elicit, it's called entrainment, it elicits similar. It may not be immediately, but over time, we elicit similar from that person to seek to understand you also. It's a principle. So take this that you're seeing on your screen now, which I just take personality types and romantic matches. Take this as researches that have been done on personality and which personality types are compatible, but don't see it as ultimate. It's just for a learning point, which is the second point I'm about to bring forth now. Understanding between spouses is more important than the compatibility. But what this just means is that these personality types are the ones that can easily flow into one another, but it doesn't mean conflict will not arise because they are coming from different backgrounds, different religious views, different financial opinions, different sexual opinions, different parenting values. So conflict will always arise. I always jokingly say that when the Bible says, where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name, I'm there. That is Jesus talking. The same thing, where 2 or 3 people are gathered in the name of love, conflict will be there. You see love, you see conflict. They are twin brothers, love and conflict. In the pains of love. So understanding is superior to compatibility, but it's easier when you realize that these two personality types can easily flow one another. There are some personality types it will take a lot of effort for them to flow. It will take a much deeper understanding for them to flow. So I hope I established that very well. And this is explainable. So the people that are ISTJ personality, they flow more with a spouse that is an ENTP or ENFP. And I will explain it. Let's look back. Let's look back. So we've done this in the last session. This is just a summary of each personality type. This is what you're seeing on your screen now. It's just a summary. So remember, I'm taking the first square now. I will need to wrap up soon in the next 10-15 minutes for questions and answers. Maybe I will just quickly wrap up with this one and touch on one more application. Maybe take on 1 or 2 people. I don't understand how time is running fast today, man. So let's take the first square. ISTJ personality can easily flow. Doesn't mean conflict will not arise, but can easily flow with a spouse that is a personality type of ENTP and ENFP. So note that ISTJ personality, let's see what ISTJ is all about. So look at the screen. ISTJ is someone who makes them, sorry, this is not what. So look at the ISTJ, yes, it's ISTJ I'm reading. So ISTJ, what you're seeing on your screen is people that each of these personality type easily connect with in relationship. People that each of these personality type easily connect with in a romantic relationship. So for ISTJ, people that they easily connect with and flow with in a relationship, the personality type is someone who makes them read beyond the words and makes them see beyond the facts and the rules. Someone who adds paints to their canvas. That's just the summary for ISTJ. Now, remember we said that the personality that they easily flow with is ENTP and ENFP. So let's go and check who are the ENTP and ENFP and if they relate to what we have just read out. The ENTP and ENFP. Okay, so this is the summary of the ENTP and ENFP here. So let's look at ENTP and ENFP. ENTP is the third column to the right, extreme right, ENTP. So the ENTP people are inventive. Remember when we said the ISTJ people easily connect in relation to the people that add paint to their canvas. They are inventive, they are enthusiastic, they are strategic, they are enterprising, they are inquisitive, they are versatile, they enjoy new ideas and challenges and value inspiration. Also, you said you can't hear me anymore. I think it's your internet, or others are hearing me.
Yes, we can hear you, Doc.
So, Sayi, please check your internet. Maybe you switch from Wi-Fi to data, mobile data, or mobile data back to Wi-Fi. Then for ENFP also, that ISTJ flows well with. So ENFP also enthusiastic, creative, spontaneous, optimistic, supportive, playful, value inspiration, enjoy starting new projects and see potential in others. Can you see why, back to this, can you see why the ISTJ connect easily with the ENTP and ENFP personality? Because what they connect with in relationship is someone who makes them read beyond the words, who helps them see beyond the facts and the rules, and who has paint to their canvas, who brings creative and reinvent things for them, who is enthusiastic in whatever they bring. So they bring an idea, the person is enthusiastic and helps them see beyond the numbers, beyond the fact on ground. They easily connect with such a person. Let me take one more because of time. You have this slide. Let me take the last one, ENTJ, the last square. So those of you that are ENTJ personality, you easily connect in relationship with these two personality types. Excuse me, INTP and INFP. Let's see why. ENTJ, where is ENTJ here? So ENTJ is the third square in the first column. The first column and the third square, ENTJ. They easily connect with someone who can challenge them, keep them entertained and interested, yet keep them in their place. So ENTJ people are very special kind of people. The people, if they are dating a guy, if it's a lady that's ENTJ that is dating a guy, that is actually challenging them, entertaining them, but the moment they snap, he easily succumbs and just gives up or let them have their way. One way or the other, subconsciously, that lady will start doubting some things. She may not be able to explain it. But is there another guy that keeps them entertained, challenge them to get better, keeps them entertained, but when they snap or getting out of control or boundary, forces them back to their place. To some other people, they will think, this is wrong, he's controlling. But that's what they will value. You guys will not understand why she's still falling in love with that guy, but still following him. Because you are not a personality type. That's who she's wired to connect with. So the only issue will now be the conflict that arises as a result of the blending of different values. How do we handle the conflict through understanding, empathic understanding? And if I go back, if you look at INTP and INFP, you will see those traits that I explained or just now. You will see it in, I don't know if time, okay, let's check the time. INTP and INFP, let's quickly look at it. So INTP and INFP. Let's look at what is INTP and INFP. The second column, the last two squares in the second column. So we have INTP. The INTP people who are intellectual, are logical, are precise, are reserved, are flexible, are imaginative. They are original thinkers who enjoy speculation and creative problem solving. They are logical, they are precise. Even though they challenge you, even though they are entertaining, even though they help you to see the gaps in what you are doing and help you to see how you get better, but they are precise and logical. If you are getting too emotional or you are getting out of it, they chisel you back to shape. That's why they connect with such a person easily, INTP. The same way INFP, let's say, sensitive, creative, idealistic, perceptive, caring, loyal, value inner harmony and personal growth, focus on dreams and personality. So they value harmony, but they are idealistic and sensitive. They can easily, they care about you, they are perceptive, they are conscious of your own feeling, but they are idealistic. If you are going out of the ideas, they stand their ground. And that's why they connect. Now, that will not permit us. I just open your eyes to see this so that you realize that if you are not yet married, if you are already married and your personality type of your spouse and yours don't fall under the category of those that can easily flow, it doesn't mean it's not going to work or it cannot work. What it means is that you guys need to work more on your empathy and your understanding of each other, because it takes more effort. For those that are easily flowing, it doesn't mean that conflict will not arise. Conflict will arise because of different values. But it's just that it will take less effort, less degree of input into empathy and understanding to arrive at resolving the conflict. Let me quickly touch on, somebody asked a question yesterday and I promised that in last session, and I promised I will respond to it this session. What's the link between the temperamental styles and personality types? So this is it. So temperament is a component of personality type. Remember, personality is a characteristic pattern of how you think, how you feel, and how you behave for specific situations. Temperament focuses majorly on how you feel and behave, not how you think, how you feel and behave. Now, there is a level of relationship between the personality type MBTI and temperament types. So, for example, the ISTJ people, if you are an ISTJ, most likely you are a pure melancholy. Your temperament is pure melancholy. We are not dealing with temperament now, so permit me not to start explaining what melancholy is all about. And time will not permit that. But you see the explanation a bit there. If you are an ISFJ, you are most likely what we call a phlegmel or a male phleg, a combination of phlegmatic and melancholy. If you are an ESFJ, you're most likely a sun-male or a male sun, and that is a combination of sanguine and melancholy. You have this slide, you can use it to understand yourself more. Then another question that someone asked is about DISC and I think I tried to answer it, but I said because of time, I will go deeper in this session. Because of time, let me see if I can quickly touch it on, because I want to engage like 1 or 2 persons before we wrap up. So DISC, I was trying to use software and hardware. So DISC measures more of behavioral expression, the external. Even though it still touches the software, but he has a upper hand in the behavioral expression. And that's why it's used more for groups or in corporate setting. But for self-awareness, personal development, self-awareness, this is not dealing with maybe corporate setting, how you lead and co. For self-awareness to see your blind spot, MBTI is more adept for that. MBTI is more adept for that. It shows to you easily your strengths and shortcomings and what you can do and how you can work on it. However, the shortcoming of MBTI is the fact that it's not easy to remember. Oftentimes you find people that have taken this test, just took this test 3 months ago, 6 months ago. You ask them what personality type are they? They say, oh, I am EN something, I'm EN something. They struggle to remember it. But DISC, maybe perhaps because of the name is easy to remember, and because of the simplicity of only four major styles. Dominance, please complete the feedback. Okay. The dominance, the steady, the conscientious. Now, it's easy for people to remember, but both of them are useful, and they are the two globally acclaimed personality review or assessors that are being used globally. But I recommend, when it comes to self-awareness, you identify your shortcoming, your strength, that you need to work on your gaps, your blind spot. On a self-development level, self-awareness level is MBTI. But when it comes to corporate setting, leadership style, talent audit, and the likes, I use more of DISC, but with support from MBTI. For example, if you are doing BGI recruiting, that is BGI-driven job interview, behavioral job interview, I still use MBTI to understand their personality and give a recommendation of how this person will fit into this particular role, what will easily stress the person, or what can go wrong with this kind of person. But when the person has entered inside in such a particular position in relating with your others or handling their roles or in leadership position, I now combine with DISC. I think I answered that. So on that note, because of time, time will not permit me to go further, please. On that note, this thing I'm about to do now, whoosh, 10 minutes to 8. Wow. Can I quickly do this, Lara?
Time is flying. Okay. All right. I think we have 10 minutes more. Yes, please.
Or let's allow question and answer. Maybe the question will precipitate this exercise I'm about to do.
Okay. Thank you, Doc. All right. Please, we'd like to take your questions now. You can either go off mute, so you can ask your questions live, or you can post in the chat box. Toba, do you have any questions yet?
No, I don't have anyone for now.
Okay. All right.
Okay. So can I engage Toba? Since you are the one that's voiced out. Can I engage you? Can you unmute?
Wow. Thank you, thank you, Doctor. I'm here.
All right. You remember your personality type, right?
Yes.
Okay. What's your personality type? Please listen, everybody. I hope we are paying attention to this.
ENTJ.
Sorry?
ENTJ.
Okay, you are ENTJ, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. So let's leave your personality type for now. Based on the energy I'm picking from you, and we're now going, after I've done this, I'm doing energy profiling for you, then we now link it to your personality type. And it will now show you those gaps and the why behind where you are stuck, or where you're struggling, or where you are slow, where you are experiencing delays, and what you can do. So based on the energy I'm picking from you, leave your personality type for now, all right? Based on the energy I'm picking from you, you are a very, very cerebral person in terms of creativity, in terms of not just creativity, even in analysis. You are very cerebral. There's energy, the frequency of vibration in your brain is very high. So the energy I'm picking from the frequency of vibration of your brain is very, very high. But at the same time, it's a strength, quite all right, but it has pushed you into what we call not totally analysis paralysis, but a semblance of it, in the sense that you want to fine-tune a lot of times, you want to fine-tune things too much. Now, for someone like you, in order to be able to bet and see through projects, in order to be able to influence things, in order to be able to, there's some things you want to do. There's an energy that I'm picking from you now, energy of like a baby, something that you've created, you've perhaps written severally on paper, and you are trying to connect the dots, put the cross on the T and everything, and you're just fine-tuning and fine-tuning, and if you have put it out, the level of influence, the level of impact you'll be making, and the level of development is like even brought back to you will be immense, despite not being perfect. You must drive into your consciousness because of who you are, your personality, and the kind of person you are. Possibly put it as a sticker rather, on your fridge, on your bedroom, everywhere you go, that progress is more important than perfection. If you can cement this philosophy in head, there are a lot of things that will move faster for you. Progress is always better than perfection. Let me quickly touch on one more energy I'm picking from you. So there is an energy I'm also picking from you, and it's the energy of judging. So because you drive yourself a lot, you're not the type of person that easily gets satisfied with where you are, which is a strength. It's pushing you. But any strength, like they tell us in military, any strength that has no control over it and has no moderation eventually becomes a weakness. It eventually becomes your enemy. So even though you're pushing yourself a lot, but you are judging yourself too much. So how do I mean? So sometimes in your life, you start looking as if you are using a zoom or a lens to look through your life to assess your achievement, and you start telling yourself you have not moved as such in life, you have not achieved so much in life. Meanwhile, you that you're saying to yourself that you have not achieved so much in life, and you are not appreciating and valuing yourself enough, and therefore it sometimes may affect your confidence. It may even affect the level of dopamine in your system, motivation hormone, because until you appreciate and reward yourself for the little progress in your life, you are denying yourself the release of dopamine in your system. You that you are saying that yourself, it's not so much. What's the big deal in this level? Among your contemporaries, a lot of them are looking at you as a role model. They are using your achievement as a point of contact. So by programming, by wiring, by your personality style, you may be predisposed to just undervaluing your progress or your achievement because you're pushing yourself. But you need to learn to practice emotional pause and tell yourself, okay, that's the programming I pick up from where I'm coming from, my nature, genetic inheritance, and my programming from environment, education, experience, and exposure. Okay, pause, stop up. Even though I'm not where I'm supposed to be, I'm not where I used to be. So those two philosophies, let it help you anchor a new belief on you. Progress is better than perfection. Even though I'm not where I'm supposed to be or I desire to be, I'm not where I used to be. I believe we will help you a lot. If you look into your personality, I can't remember the personality that you mentioned again. You will see these shortcomings that relate to the energy you are emitting. And people can pick energy if you have to train to pick energy, and you can tell where people are stopped or even read their mind. So, Toba, let me hear from you.
Wow. This is great. Doctor, thank you so much. Coach Lara did not tell me that she didn't tell us that she's bringing a prophet to the house also. Come and speak to us. So thank you. I was, in fact, since morning, since I woke up, I wanted to send message to Coach Lara because there are some things I want to explain to her. There are some things I'm bothered about, and these are just exactly what you have highlighted. And thank you so much. And I'm sure Coach Lara is listening to all these things, and she will help me. She's always there for me. Thank you,
awesome.
Doctor. I'm grateful.
You're welcome.
As Doctor was sharing, Doctor, read your chat. I was sending you private chats to also allude to what you were saying.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right, on that note, let's wrap it up. Thank you. God bless you, everyone. It's an awesome time. We can't go deeper than this because of time. Yeah. God bless.
Wow, thank you so much. On that note, I'll hand over to Toba to give the vote of thanks, and let's bring this to a close. Toba, over to you.
Wow. Thank you, Coach Lara, and thank you everyone for joining us. We are grateful. God bless you. And thank you so much, Doctor, for your time. Last week, it was profound. This week again, I don't even know what to do. It's just to go and sleep. Thank God that this thing is recorded. It's recorded, and I will be listening to it again and again. And thank you that you are able to saying it in front of my coach, my mentor, to also direct me and put me right. Thank you so much. I'm grateful, and thank you everyone for joining us. Please, it is very important that we fill the feedback form. We need your feedback. We need your details to send you the slide and also the link to the video. We will also also like you to please join. Search for Doctor on IG, on YouTube, on
at
social media.
dr_OSAZ. dr_OSAZ.
Okay.
Yeah,
put that
as
in the
like
chat box.
Dr. Osas on IG, or Dr. Osas on all those social
Yeah.
media. Please follow him. Thank you so much. We are grateful. Thank you, Coach Lara. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. On that note, please, if you can go off mute and just say thank you to Dr. Osas. Let him hear our voices.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Our
Dr.
energy
Saz. We
level
appreciate
is
your
high.
time, your
Well
insight.
done. Thank you so much.
We're grateful. Thank you so much.
Love you all.
We are grateful.
Thank you, Dr. Osas. Thank you. God
you.
bless you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.